In a conversation you're told 10 nice things and 1 insult. By tonight you'll have forgotten most of the nice things, while the insult keeps replaying in your mind. That isn't a sign of a defective personality, it's your brain carrying out exactly the function it evolved to perform. That is what psychologists term the negativity bias, and the true explanation for it is much stranger than the idea that some people are simply insecure. In 2001, psychologist Roy Baumeister and his colleagues looked at decades of research and came to a straightforward conclusion: bad is stronger than good. Negative experiences consistently outweigh positive ones of the same magnitude in the areas of memory, emotion, and decision-making. One sharp comment is enough to nullify a dozen kind ones. It's not a close call. What is the reason your brain should be constructed in this manner? If you go back that far, about 200,000 years, give or take, you're not sitting around going over an insult. Instead, you're in tall grass and hear a rustling sound. It was the ones who paid close and sustained attention to that rustle who survived. Those who ignored it because the sunset had been pretty that day, statistically speaking, did not. People whose ancestors had remembered each threat in great detail passed on their genes, while those who had remembered each pleasant afternoon with the same intensity never got the opportunity. John Cacioppo carried out a direct test of this using an EEG to measure brain activity as people looked at positive, negative, and neutral images. When the negative images were shown, there was almost immediately a greater electrical response. The brain is not deciding that this is bad after giving it some careful thought. Rather, it flags up a danger before conscious thought has even caught up. That's when it becomes more specific. The psychologist Paul Rozin has discovered that this bias is not merely concerned with survival threats. It appears almost everywhere if you look. The pain of losing money is greater than the pleasure derived from gaining an equal amount. One unpleasant stranger is enough to spoil a day made up of many nice ones. A single scratch on a new car causes you more annoyance than the 1,000 miles driven without any problems. The conclusion that Rozin reached was simple: negative events are psychologically heavier than positive ones, even though they are the same size. Here's the turnabout that alters the way you consider your own memory. You might think it only affects how you feel at that moment, but it doesn't end there. It actually reorganizes what is stored. Elizabeth Kensinger, a researcher in the field of memory, has demonstrated that negative emotional experiences activate the amygdala, and that this activation enhances the way in which the hippocampus encodes the memory vividly. Positive memories are generally stored in the form of a broad summary, whereas negative memories are stored like high-definition footage complete with sound and detail. It's not merely the case that your brain notices the insult more, it is in fact creating for it a permanent, high-resolution file. As for the compliment, it is hardly filed at all. The insult wasn't successful because it was important to who you are. Instead, it succeeded because your brain's old alarm system regarded it as a rustle in the grass, and therefore worth remembering in detail just in case it should happen again. Consider the effect of this in a world where there are no predators left in the grass. Suppose you have a performance review with 9 strong points and 1 weak one. You'll remember the weak point. There's a relationship that has 1,000 good days and 1 bad argument. The argument is the one that plays back in your mind at 2 a.m. With social media, you get 99 kind comments and 1 nasty one. You know right now which one you're thinking about. The brain has not realized that the threat is over. It is still carrying out the programs which were designed for a world full of predators, storms, and competing tribes. In those days, if you forgot about a threat, it could cost you your life, but forgetting a kind action rarely did. That is why evolution has retained the system which remembers danger while allowing the one which remembers kindness to remain a bit vague. It isn't weakness, it's a means of survival, which is still operating, having done so long after the war for which it was designed had come to an end. The next time an old insult turns up unexpectedly while 10 compliments are ignored, you're not being unfair to yourself. You're simply heeding an alarm system, which was developed 200,000 years ago, and is still carrying out its function in a world where such a system is no longer as necessary. Perhaps that is indeed the true answer. When someone tells you 10 compliments and 1 insult, your brain retains the one thing it was designed to never let you forget.